All that in mind, let's bring in our CBS 13 political analyst, Gary Dietrich. All right, so I've heard a lot of frustration online about this one because, of course, Stockton needs all the help that they can get. I was here the night that it happened, shortly after the governor put out a statement, but not much since. And some are even saying, does he care about Stockton? Where is he?
Yeah, it's the contrast, okay? Because remember, CHP were deployed to San Francisco. Right. They were deployed to Oakland. And people are saying in one of the cities that it always ranks, I mean, sadly, but Stockton's crime statistics often are some of the highest in the nation, if not at least the state. People are saying, what gives? And interestingly, guys, particularly because the mayor came out, as you know, shortly thereafter, and actually invited the federal government to get involved in assisting Stockton with these issues. So I think there's been, to your point, Marley, a lot of silence from the governor's office since then. And I think that's a concern for people. You know, this is not going away. What an absolutely tragic incident. And you know, the scene, the scenario at a children's birthday party, I think has just gripped people so much that I'm frankly, to be honest, a little surprised that we haven't seen a state response.
Yes.
And we'll see if something yet comes from the federal government.
Yes,
yeah, people have asked why he hasn't gone physically in person to Stockton, right?
Exactly.
That's been the question.
Yes.
Let's move to this now because this is making news just really within the past couple of hours. Supreme Court handing Texas a major win. This is a huge deal. They green-lighted their new congressional district maps before the midterm. What does that mean for Prop 50? We know we've got the same type of conversation going on here.
Right. Well, they are two separate cases. That is the maps drawn for Texas congressional districts in California. But we do have, I think, the Supreme Court tipping their hand a little bit. It's important to note that for Texas, every state, remember, sets their own election calendars. And why this was so vital that this Texas case be decided today by the Supreme Court is it because we're now at December 4th, and the filing deadline for congressional seats in Texas is December 8th. Just the beginning of next week. So they had to make this decision. They did. This is going to upset some people, but it moves forward the plan for Texas's new 5 districts, Republican leaning, to go into effect. Guys, I'm not a constitutional scholar, admittedly, but you'd have to believe, based on the arguments, the reasoning of the Supreme Court, there's a pretty good chance that ours are going to stand as well. Right. Because what they said today was they are loath, that is the court, to get involved in electoral politics. They think that should be left to the states.
Exactly.
And California voters made it clear that they wanted Prop 50.
Some people didn't like it, obviously, Prop 50, but we'll see what happens. That case has yet to be decided. By the way, our Fed filing deadline, not till after the first year, so we have some time on that one.
Okay. The other big story today, boy, if you thought things couldn't get uglier, I would say they can. Okay, so
well,
what a tease.
Right. I'm talking
As a matter of fact, true, people. That is true.
So this is the fight between former Vice President Kamala Harris, current Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who could have run with Harris for the presidency.
Well, he interviewed for the job.
Right? And he was one of the top contenders, but now accusing her of lying about him.
Okay, the exact quote, blatant lies.
Blatant lies. And there were some other choice words. We won't put those in there.
All right, friends, I want you to know this is not daytime television. This is national politics we're talking about right here. Here's the problem. In an Atlantic article that came out yesterday, very well researched, the reporter specifically quoted some of the things out of the former vice president's book to the current governor. Remember, here he is, Josh Shapiro, who she interviewed to be one of her potential vice presidential, selections. She said some things that weren't very favorable towards him in that book. And I'll tell you, there's only one way to say it, guys. He came unglued and really lambasted the former vice president. Remember, this is problematic because she is continuing, her people continue to leave open the door wide for running in 2028. And as I was telling you guys off here, you don't want to keep unfriending people in your own party, okay? That's not a great idea.
And Shapiro has been highlighted as a top contender for 2028. So it's not like,
not only that, but by the way, you need his state, okay? I mean, Pennsylvania and all the electoral votes, they are a have to. So let's see where this all goes, but I'll tell you, the drama continues to unfold.
Drama.
Ad infinitum.
That's one way to put it.
Yes, my friend.
We always appreciate you being here with us, Gary.
Guys.
Thank you so much, Gary.